Hi everyone. I haven't done a video in a while. This is Yashe coming at you live from Boulder County, Colorado. I wanted to share something with you. I'm just going to read it off the top of what I sent out to some of my friends online. On July 15th, 2020, I wrote this up, and this is a leaked transmission from inside sources that was directed to a Nigerian leader. He posted on video. I spent some time to put on paper, since many videos are taken down regarding anything about saving ourselves from a corrupt beast system, the New World Order, satanic, demonic agendas. In the end, their system will only allow us to live in survival mode. Is this truly living, folks? If you got this, or you're hearing this, I love and care about your well-being. So there it is. Please pass this along to your loved ones, and let's be prepared. Continue to pray and fear only the Most High, and continue, for He resides in all of us. And remember who you really are and where you truly came from. All right, family. This is a leaked PDF document from the Rockefeller Foundation. A simulated global outbreak, required steps, phases, overall timeline, scripted outcomes. Rockefeller Lockstep 2010. Created a very contagious but super low mortality rate virus to fit the needed plan. SARS/HIV hybrid recess strain. Created at Fort Detrick Class 4 Lab, 2008 to 2013. As part of a research project to find out coronavirus spread like wildfire in bats, but have extremely hard time infecting humans. Hence, the 4 HIV insets, SETS, also known as the missing key, to infect the humans, in parentheses, its true receptor. Create a weaponized version of the virus with a much higher mortality rate as a backup plan, ready to be released in phase 3, but only if needed, and in parentheses, SARS/HIV/MERS, a weaponized tribred strain. Created at Fort Detrick Class 4 Lab in 2015. Transport the strain to a different Class 4 lab, National Crew Biology Lab in Winnipeg, Canada, and have it stolen and smuggled out by China. And take it to China only, Class 4 Lab, Wuhan Research Biology in Wuhan, China, for added plausible deniability. And to help cement the 1/3 backup public script as something to fall back on. If needed, primary script B is natural. Backup script B, that China created it and released it by accident. The talking heads, aka Fauci/NIAID/NIH/WHO/CDC/UN, those are the talking heads of this, that will be involved with, and this is in parentheses, pandemic response. That is, prior to the plan release to the strain, to control the test script to operation, create and fund the vaccination derobment and rule out plan. So it's being ruled out on a global scale, is where it came from and everything. They're trying to point the finger elsewhere. Bill Gates, Decade of Global Vaccine Action Plan, 2010 to 2019. Excuse me, I've got to take a drink here. Be sure to pass this along. Once you have the true information, it's easier to help our families and continue to pray and get a clearer picture of how to act. All right, where were we? Bill Gates, Decade of Global Vaccine Action Plan, 2010 to 2019, creates and funds the vaccination verification certification protocols for a digital ID to enforce, confirm the vaccination program after the mandatory rule is enacted. Gates ID 2020. Similar to lockstep hypotheses just prior to the planned recess strain release. using a real-world exercise as a final war game. And you're seeing that right now in play. They're talking a lot about China and pulling back from China. This is all, if they're pointing the fingers at China and Wuhan and all that, what we just read, they're the game on, folks. Let's see, as a final war game to determine the explosive response timelines and outcomes. Gates event 201, October 2019. Release the recess strain at a Wuhan Institute of Biology itself, and then build its release on a natural scapegoat as the one in the primary script. The Wuhan Wet Market, November 2019. Downplay the human-to-human transmission for as long as possible to allow the recess strain to spread on a global scale. And that's what we're seeing right now. People being allowed to go out, people walking around without masks and stuff. They're using all of this. Before any country can lock down or respond to avoid initial infection. Once a country has seen infection in place, lockdown, incoming and outgoing travel, but keep transmission within the country spreading for as long as possible. Once again, people in a country are infected and falls in isolation for that area and expand the lockdown regions slowly over time. So that's how they make the lockdown spread, folks, is they just overhype the mortality rate. And we're seeing this playing out online. Overhype the mortality rate by tying the recess strain to deaths that have little to nothing to do with the virus. To keep the seer and complaints at a maximum, if anyone dies for any reason and is found they have COVID, consider it a COVID death. And if anyone is 2 or more symptoms, consider it a COVID death. That means they don't even have to have the COVID. They just display 1 or 2 symptoms. They write it up as a COVID if they, when they pass away. And we're finding out that most of those people from these nurses inside are put on ventilators, which kills them. They shouldn't have that treatment done to them. For vaccine, continue to drag out the quarantine. Keep the public quarantined for as long as possible to destroy the region's economy. Get civil unrest, break down the supply chain and cause the start of mass food shortages, as well as cause people's immune system weaken due to lack of interaction with other people, bacteria, or the outside world, also known as the things that keep our immune systems alive and lit. And I've been noticing that from time to time I check into the homeless shelter. Nobody's coughing, folks, and there's no homeless people up here that are sick with corona. Keep your immune systems going. Let's see. For vaccine, continue to drag out the quarantine over and over and over again in 2-week intervals, causing more and more people to eventually stand up and protest. They know how to prod us. They know how to prod us, and they know how to separate us. So keep that under your hats, folks. By the way, the 2-party system is an illusion. They're all the same people, the same 1%. Get a clue, folks, if you don't already. Let's see. Eventually stand up and protest or defy them. Eventually end the phase 1 quarantine once they get enough public to push back around June 2020. Once the public goes back to, in parentheses, normal, wait a few weeks and then continue to overhype the recess strain. Mortality rate, September 2020. A lot of people are saying September 2020 is going to be like a 6-month lockdown or something. And combine it with the increase in deaths due to people dying from stand-up illnesses at the higher rate than normal due to having high weakened immune systems. So basically with these masks on and everything, more people are going to get deathly ill because the immune system's weak, so they're just going to tack that on. For months of being in isolation, to help further pad the mortality rate and hype the incoming phase 2 lockdown. Eventually, a like phase 2 quarantines October to November 2020. even more extreme level, and blame the protesters, mostly people who don't listen to the government already, for the causes of the larger second wave, like, we told you so. It was too early. It was all your fault. Because you needed a haircut. Your freedoms have consequences. And for the phase 2 quarantine at a much more extreme level. Increasing the penalty for defense and jail terms. Deem all travel as non-essential. Increase checkpoints, including military assistance. Increase tracking, and they already have that app that they want us to get. Placing tracking of the population as mandatory with apps. Take over control of food and gas. Large-scale shortages so that people can only get access to essential products and services if they are first given permission. We're still dealing with massa, but on a larger scale. Keep phase 2 lockdown in place for a much longer period of time than the phase 1 lockdown. Continue to destroy the global economy. Further degrade the supply chain. Amplify the food shortage and alike. Fuel any public outrage using extreme action and force. And of course, they're going to have the military. So, folks, this is, just stay with the Most High. He'll tell you how to act. And make anyone who defies them appear as public enemy number 1. Okay? For those who are willing to submit, here's the weak folks that they don't have a relationship with the Most High and they fear man. They're the people that follow everything on CNN and the TV. They think they know, but they don't. And there's many people that think they have the right spirit that they're attached to, but they don't. Because they're following those downtrodden Christianity, giving you the wrong image, the wrong name, the slave masters made up stories. Get out of those churches, folks. Let's continue. For those who are willing to submit, who have been programmed, after a long phase 2 lockdown, 6 months. Roll out the vaccination program, vaccine certification, and make it mandatory for everyone. Giving priority access to those that submitted from the start and have those that are against it attacked, saying they are a threat to the cause of all the problems. We can't go back to normal until everyone takes the vaccine. People define them as hating our way of life and are therefore the enemy. And you know who's going to be the ones pointing the finger to us that don't want to take the vaccine? The ones who think everything's going to go back to normal. If the majority of people go along with the agenda, then let those people enter the new system. Ask yourself what the new system is. Read your Bible, folks. Go to Revelations. There's a lot in there. In the book of Obadiah. Edom's falling too. Babylon will be destroyed, and America is Babylon, folks. The UK is part of it too. The European countries, they shall fall. The new system, let's see. If the majority of people go along with the agenda, then let those people enter the new system, the beast system. New normal, while limiting the minority that defied the agenda, the ability to work and travel. So those of us who are against this beast system,